When we get up in the morning, along with coffee, toast, and cake. If you're like the old stone roadie, you like to wake and bake. Now let's join Craig, Reed, and Griff Martin as we head out on the road. So sit right back and buckle right in. It's a Wake and Bake Morning Show. It's a Wake and Bake Morning Show. It's a Wake and Bake Morning Show. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Time to rise and shine. I'm Shelby Barrett, the Stonette for the Stoned Roadie Show, and it's time to Wake and Bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
The Stoned Roadie Show, podcast 207. Action. Well, good morning, fellow earthlings. Looky here, looky here. Hey, it's Saturday morning. It's a Wake and Bake Saturday morning. This is our first Wake and Bake Saturday morning and the morning buzz. And my name's Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stoned Roadie, also known as the world's most famous roadie ever. And like I said before, I'd like to say, boy, we got a good show for you today. But like every other day, I ain't got a clue what we're going to talk about today. So fill me in there. This is my co-host, Griff Martin, like always. And why don't you fill me in there, Griff? Tell me what the heck we're going to talk about this fine Saturday morning there, August 10th, 2024.
Greg, the thought for the day is that you can want to be a transgender man trying to be a woman, but you're still going to have to get your prostate checked when you turn 40. Yeah, a lot of people are wondering, why are we having a Saturday morning wake and bake? Well, because Griff had some issues this week. Had all kinds of calamity going on and couldn't do the Friday morning acoustic. Air conditioner broke, garage door broke, cut my finger, all kinds of stuff happening. But here we are, a day late. There was some people in the comments going, I was looking for the Saturday morning wake and bake. But
Friday morning.
A Friday morning wake and bake, but
it's early here.
Yeah. So here we are. We made it. We're it's Saturday. But when you're retired, every day's a Saturday. Isn't that right, Craig?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But there still might be some people out there going to work here Saturday morning. You never know.
Yeah, I used to hate that.
People have a day off today, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people.
I used to hate it.
7 days a week, even.
When the boss would come up to you on Friday, and you thought you had your day all planned and for Saturday and the weekend, and here comes the boss. And, yeah, I need you to go ahead and come in on Saturday.
A lot of people that work independent and contractors, like carpenters and stuff, they work Sunday. My buddy came out here over last Sunday. He was working on Sunday, the carpenter. Yeah. So.
There's this big thing they do over here where I live, and nobody works on Monday. It's like everything's closed on Monday. I'm like, what's up with that? A lot of restaurants, they closed on Monday, Tuesday through Saturday or, something like that. That's lot.
The Chinese restaurant here is closed on Mondays. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be. It must be a Chinese thing. They must have started it. Communism.
Used to get my haircut closed on Mondays. Ain't had a haircut in a while.
But you can try to change your Mondays, not go to work on Monday, but Tuesday is going to be your Monday. So you're going to have a day back to work no matter what day it is. You might as well give it over with. So, yeah. Well,
the people, there's some of the conspiracy is that they've changed the calendar. Actually, Sunday is actually on Monday, and there's supposed to be another day in the week, and they've changed things all got us all mixed up. They've got our biological clock all confused. So
Mine was confused for 35 years. I was working first shift one week, second shift another. Yeah, I don't know how I made it.
I don't know how
But
to keep up with all this conspiracy theory stuff going on.
it's an overload.
It's out of control, man.
Jesus for Survivors says you need to call your little conspiracy segment the Conspiracy Corner.
Oh yeah, yeah. He that
And did he send you that little picture?
Yeah,
of
yeah. I
us?
posted that on FakeBook. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. I'll
With the
put it up here.
tinfoil, he got the Reynolds wrap underneath it. With
Yeah,
the
I don't think
tinfoil hat.
I don't think he's a big fan of our conspiracies. But there's a lot of people that are. And even if we're half right, we're still right in a lot of it. But that Monday thing, I'd drive all the way down there to my favorite barbecue place, Jimbo's Barbecue, and my mouth was watering by the time I got there. And I pull up and they're closed on Monday. Like, enough to piss you off. But yeah, and then you said Kathy Gotze had a little accident with her.
Yeah,
foot.
yeah. She was gonna do a Saturday night special tonight, and she said she's gonna have to do it next week. She was carrying. She broke a jar, some kind of a jar, and she just threw it in the trash. And she was carrying it out to the trash, and it bumped the back of her ankle. Right down at the bottom, and it sliced her open, and she had to go get the staples put in it, and then the staple came out, and then she had to get 8 stitches put in it, and then she had some problems with it, and she had to today. She's gonna have to get that taken care of. But I've known a couple people that have put broken glass in a trash bag and then bumped their leg with it and stuff and cut themselves wide open. Yeah.
Remember when I mangled my arm up and she goes, Griff's always getting hurt.
Yeah. That's a freak accident, boy, when you bump your, I've known people to do that. So I never ever put broken glass in the trash. I always put it in a box because I've known people that got really messed up doing that, man.
And I take like razor blades. I'll wrap them up in duct tape and just throw them in the trash because that's another one that'll get you is the razor blades.
Oh yeah,
but
you forget that stuff sitting there, and you go to pack your trash down and hit that stuff. Oh boy.
Yeah, I was sharpening a lawnmower blade about 6 months ago and sliced my finger open. And then the same finger, same exact spot, I was cutting a box with the knife and sliced it yesterday morning. And that was a lot of fun. So yeah, Kathy, I know how you feel. I was going to get stitches, but they were too backed up. And yeah, I had a bad week. And next week, I can't wait for next week to get past this bad week. You said Skynyrd's coming to town over there where you're
tonight.
At,
yeah, they're about 15 miles from me.
You going up there?
I was thinking about going over there and just going up to the gate. There's gates. It's a place called Clay's Park. It's a park, so you gotta go to the gate. I was thinking about going to the gate and have them call them backstage and tell them Craig Reed's at the gate and wants in and see what the response is.
Yeah, take your GoPro with you and get it all on video, and then we'll Craig Reed on the road and one more from the road with Craig Reed.
Yeah, I got confused. I thought yesterday was Saturday and I called and I was trying to find out about about the gates and how you get in and stuff, and they said, "Oh, today's Friday." And I went, but Brad Paisley was playing there last night. I should have went and did that, but we had this to do this morning, so I didn't want to be over there late last night. So.
Well, you don't want to go there 2 days in a row anyway, huh?
Yeah, I know those Brad Paisley guys, though, the crew guys, all those. They're guitar roadies there. They actually play acoustic guitar behind stage during the show. They two of them play guitar behind stage. They got things set up back there, and they play rhythm guitar back there. I know those guys pretty well.
But the Skynyrd guys, they might still have that funeral brochure stuck up in their crawl, huh?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'd like to see what happens with that. I wish I could be there to videotape it. That would be great.
I don't know any. I don't. Brian, our Boxcar still does the keyboard, and Dave Baker still does the monitors, and those are the only two road guys I really know anymore. Brian Evers retired. Johnny's cousin, he retired. So yeah.
Greg, I'm going to show you something and tell me what. Now the picture is not going to be. It's going to be cut off a little bit, but you'll get the idea. Tell me what you think about this.
Oh yeah. That's the one of the first, maybe the first tour jacket we got. Yeah, that red satin one. Yeah, that's a real one. Yeah, that's for sure.
A friend of mine sent that to me and said she knows the guy that owns it, and it used to belong to Cassie Gaines. I'll stick up the full view of it here so everybody can see. This is cut off a little bit here, but yeah, that's the original jacket, huh? You sold yours, didn't you?
Yeah, I sold that a while back. Yeah.
And so what year do you think that was handed
75, 74, maybe the end of 74. Yeah, it was the first one we got. It was probably right at the end of 74. Yeah, I would.
And just the band members and a couple of the road
band
crew?
And me and Joe Barnes and Kevin Elson and Dean Kilpatrick and the band people. Well, Cassie got it, so that I might have my years messed up if that's Cassie's, because Cassie wasn't around until. No, I don't see how that could be Cassie's.
See, that's what I was asking you.
No, that couldn't be.
Maybe that was Steve's.
That was before Cassie got there.
No, Steve's couldn't even be Steve's. He came later than
Cassie. Mine had my name right here. So where's the other side of it?
Yeah, that's
I mean, that's one of the jackets, but unless they had a copy remade, which is possible, but if it's really Cassie's, it would say Cassie.
Did everybody have their name on it?
Yeah, yes, most definitely. It in cursive. It's stitched in cursive. It would be stitched in cursive on the other side. It would say Cassie, if that's Cassie's. Because mine was somebody could have duplicated that. I mean, that could be duplicated. It
looks kind of new, but the bottom part of it, you can't really see it, but it looks just like that one that you had.
The red and white. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't see how that could be Cassie's, because we got those.
Do you think there was an extra one left over somebody had and they just gave it to Cassie? No, because it had to have her name on it.
Ask Leslie. We have to ask Leslie if Leslie has one.
That's a good question. Well, we need to see the front side of that thing.
Yeah, we have to ask Leslie if Leslie has one, because I don't see how that could be Cassie's. We got those before the girls were hired.
I'll get my friend to ask the guy who owns it to send us a picture of the other side and tell us the scoop.
Yeah, it has to say Cassie on it, written in cursive.
So what year did Cassie come?
76.
76, and you got yours in 75?
Yeah, 70. What was it? 70? No, 75. Maybe.
Seems like to me. Leslie's husband.
Dean drew that drawing. Yeah, Dean drew the drawing at the rehearsal place on Riverside, and that's got the girls in it, and that was right when we left the Hell House, and we left the Hell House, I think, in late '75. So it's possible, God, that was 50 years ago. We got it early.
When I was at Leslie's house, her husband was going back in the bedroom, and he was bringing out all these jackets that Leslie wore and she wore on stage and was letting me see him. He's such a nice guy, And I swear he might have, I can't remember, but it seemed like he brought that one out too. I could be wrong. But yeah, we need to ask Leslie about that and see. I'll text her. I'll text her and ask her.
Yeah. Ask her if she's got one of those. That's
yeah, that's a good.
That was right. That would have been right when they got hired. If she's got one.
I mean, I
was thinking that was one of the first ones we got, or if not the first.
You got to be careful, when you're trying to pass on.
Because we got those red ones. We got the red ones before we got the blue one, the blue coat kind of jacket, like the blue one with the furry collar. We got that. We got the red one before we got that blue one.
So there weren't any of the red ones made without a name on the front?
No, they all had their names on them.
Who did that? Who had them made?
MCA Records made those.
Oh, yeah?
From what I remember, yeah. Could have been a promoter, but I think it was MCA made those.
All righty then.
Promoters did do some of that stuff, but back in those days, but I think those come from the record company. I don't remember.
Okay, well, moving along. Did any more donation updates or anything like that, Craig? That
yes, matter of fact, yeah, there is a donation.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Our buddy Eldridge, Chris Eldridge, donated another. He heard me comment that we hadn't had any donations in a while, so he fixed that. He donated another $50.
Yay!
And, he donated that 50. He's donated. That's the fifth time he's donated, but that 5 should be at where it says 50 times. It should be 4 equals 200. But he altogether he's donated $400 here. He donates. He donates a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. We appreciate that, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he sent in $400. Yeah, it says 50 times 5, but it's supposed to be 50 times 4 equals 200.
So if anybody's watching the Stone Roadie show for the first time and they're wondering what's that all about, well, Craig Reed was on the Lynyrd Skynyrd plane when it crashed, and when we started this podcast and we started, making money on the monetization, and then people started sending money to us, and so Craig says, well, we're going to pass all that on to the plane crash survivors because they're not doing too good, and so then more people started donating, and then now it's turned into to helping out the the forgotten survivors, and so they sure can use it. As a matter of fact, I talked to Gene recently, and he's got a lot of issues going on right now. He's got, I don't know, I think somebody might be trying to make a lamp or something out of his skin because he's been getting hacked on pretty regular here lately. They've been cutting a bunch of cancer off of him, and now he's got like a little prostate thing that they're going to check. So yeah, hopefully that's going to be whatever that is going to be benign. So he's a little concerned. As a matter of fact, he's supposed to go up to New York to some party, and he might have to put that off. He travels around so much, but yeah. So yeah, how's cousin Figel?
Cousin Figel's not doing so good. Yeah, and we was trying to he's got this hat that he was wanting to get $2,500 for it, and we had somebody that put in a bid for $2,500, and we were going on that, and thinking we had a solid bid for $2,500 for it, and then somebody else bid $3,500, and then and then we went to try to collect the money, and the guy that bid $3,500 decided that he didn't really want to live up to the $3,500 bid he put on it, and then we fell back on the $2,500 guy, and he decided he didn't want to live up to his bid either. So that kind of sucks, because
Greg, read some of the names, some of the signatures off on that thing. Read some of those signatures.
Oh yeah. It's actually I got them written down. Oh God, I don't have them. I used to have them.
You can look at the hat and tell, though.
Yeah. Where is that? Well, it's got Ricky Medlock and Johnny Van Zandt and Dale K. Rossington. I'm gonna read them off just like they're written. And Jimmy Van Zandt and Huey T. and Michael Cardlone and Billy Powell. And I think that this is a guy from 38, and I can't really read his signature. And Gary Rossington, and another person, I think, from 38 special. I can't read their writing. Carol Chase, someone else from 38. It just says 38. I can't read who it is. And somebody, LJ says LJ 38, and Ian and Ricky and Johnny. They signed this in 2004. So there's all the signatures.
And isn't Huey on there?
On the hat. Yeah, Huey's right here.
Yeah, Huey's on there.
Huey T, yeah.
And a lot of those people, half of them are no longer here with us anymore. So that's a pretty collectible hat right there. I mean,
yeah, I'd buy the daggone thing just to help out Cousin Faisal, but it's too darn small for me. It's a 6 7/8 or a 7, and I got a big old water head. I'm a 7.
Yeah, that wouldn't even fit
5'8", so it ain't no way I could stretch it out and make it fit me. But people would say, what would you want to wear it for? I'm one of them people. If I got something, I use it. But there's a picture of Cousin Faisal and me back in 2004 when he had that signed.
Yeah, he got lucky that he could wear it.
Yeah, but he'd like to get $3,000 for it. He said if he can't get $3,000 for it, he'll just get buried in it. So yeah. So I just want to run that by everybody and tell them that's available if anybody's interested in one of Ronnie's hats. Now it's real. That's a hat that Cousin Faisal got up. That was auctioned off by Judy, his wife Judy, at one of the first auctions they had. She auctioned off a bunch of stuff, and he paid like $2,500 or something like at the auction for it, and that had it all signed and everything. So. Yeah, he'd like to get $3,000 out of it.
So it wasn't Ronnie's hat, but Judy got it from the same company.
Yeah, exactly. It was made by Charlie One Horse at Ronnie's hat specs and everything. So it's identical to the one that Ronnie would have got. And I guess Judy had it made. I guess she had a couple made and sold them at auction.
And if you tried to put it on eBay, they'd eat you alive on fees.
Oh yeah, it's just ridiculous what they charge in fees. Yeah, so
yeah. Well,
I just want to bring that up. But it sucked that those people said they were, wanted the hat, and then, it come down to actually paying for getting it and paying for it. They backed out, so whatever.
Yeah.
Well, one guy, he turned out to be a Trump hater, so that kind of explains that one. So.
Oh yeah, they don't have any. They usually back out at everything.
They don't have a conscience.
But anybody that's interested, in contact Craig at thestonedroadie@gmail.com.
Yeah,
right, Craig?
Yeah, thestonedroadie@gmail.com. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Anybody interested in that hat? Nice hat.
Okay, well, we got comments and questions that we usually go through on all the podcasts, and you guys were putting some comments in there because, and I got to tell a little story because sometimes when you see the podcast go up in the morning, and you might even be right in the middle of watching it, and all of a sudden it disappears, and then you'd be like, "What the hell happened?" Well, I don't have a lot of time to check the editing before I get it out. So what happens is later on I'll listen to it when I have time, and if there's something screwed up in it, like the last one was really jacked up. I mean, there was like about 5 minutes of it that repeated, and then there was sections of it that were sped up. It sounded like Mickey Mouse, and it was all jacked up. So I called Craig and I said, "Craig, pull it down. I got to go home and re-edit that and send it back to you." So that's happened several times.
Yeah, he sends it to me. It's 4:00 in the morning, and then I got to put it up on YouTube and then they go through the thing, and then they monetize it, and that whole series of stuff. So by the time I get it back, it's 4 or 5 in the morning, and I don't watch it back. I
don't have time.
While he's messing with it, I can watch the file that I send him. I can watch that back, but then after he sends it back to me, all he does is just add the intro and the exit and stuff, and I don't really watch it back after that. And then so I don't see the finished product, and he'll come in the morning and say, "Man, it's messed up. Pull it down."
Like that time that Craig got up to get some tea, and he was in his underwear, and he forgot. I just made that up. Craig didn't even catch it.
I did something about it. I was in my underwear and I went to get some tea and forgot or something.
Yeah, because sometimes I'll do the podcast in my underwear even. I mean, how can you tell, right? I don't do it naked, though, so you guys don't have to poke your mind's eye out on that or anything. But yeah, that's what happens sometimes. So don't freak out. Usually if you see it come down, it'll come back up again. And then I lose the comments that you guys put on there. So sorry about that. That's like somebody called me and they said, "Hey, I put a comment on there and it disappeared." And then they said, "Can you reread it for me?" So I wrote it in here on these. But yeah, so we got I looked at the comments, and there were like about 40 comments. And then I went somewhere for a couple hours, and I came home and I looked, and it was like 120 comments. And I was like, wow, somebody really started watching the podcast. And I went on there, and Kimmy had commented about 60 times on there. So
I can hear you now. I had to turn my volume up. So Kimmy commented about 50 times.
About 60 times. But so we can always count on Kimmy for bumping up the comments. Thank you, Kimmy. We appreciate that. So,
I read some of them this time. I didn't see a lot from Kimmy though.
Yeah, she's on there. She's a nut. She's definitely a nut. So, well, let's go ahead and jump into these comments here. And there's some people turning into some conspiracy theorists. So this might just be a conspiracy theorist show here before it's all over with.
Oh, I was thinking, this morning, I watch a lot of different podcasts, and there was one guy was talking about how he just does a podcast about, just being himself. And a lot of people are, don't like to just be their self, and then, God, I was thinking about all the women, all the big fat women that have these podcasts, and all they do is eat, and I'm going, God, they're addicted to eating, and then they do a podcast and they get paid on these podcasts to eat. That'd be great, to be addicted to something and then get paid to do it. I'd been great when I was addicted to cocaine if it had been paying me to do cocaine.
That kind of reminds me.
Paying me to be an alcoholic, paying me for my addiction, God, that'd be a treat to be addicted to something and then get paid to do it and do a podcast about your habit. That's
Speaking of that brings me to this. Somebody sent in a question. Sunflower Lover, talking about the fat women, wants to know, Craig, have you ever had you some curvy lovin'? Or even downright fat? And if so, how was it?
I admitted to it that one time when I was with with Marshall Tucker, when they got that novelty stripper that was a great big obese woman, and I could see under my blindfold, and she, so it wasn't a surprise to me, so I could see the whole thing, and I could see them laughing, and she was, the whole time she was talking dirty to me, she was stripping, and they were laughing, and I could see the whole thing, so.
Did you end up getting you some of that, Chris?
Yeah, I had to. I said, I'm one to take advantage of an opportunity. And I said, man, I'll never ever pick up a fat woman this size. So, here she is. Also, I might as well, take advantage of it.
Did you leave the blindfold on?
Oh, she was cool though. I actually went out on the town with her. She took me over this was in Texas, man. And we went across the border to a bunch of people that, were, talking about having green cards, and she was Mexican. It was,
yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was that was quite an experience. And then and then we went over, and I was doing smoking some angel dust over in Mexico, and then we come back across the border, and I met up with the guys from Marshall Tucker in this cowboy bar, and I was so glad to see those guys. I was wasted, man. I was tripping. I was tripping with this 450-pound woman.
Were they laughing at you?
You know what? That's a night I'll never forget. I mean, God, you don't have very many of those, especially me. God, that was years ago. That was a night I'll never forget. There's, you can't never forget those nights you'll never forget. Something to be said about those,
Did you do the angel dust before or after you got her?
Oh, this was when I went out partying with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a hoot, man. She was a lot of fun, actually.
Who knows? Maybe she lost a lot of weight. You could be hooked back up with her.
I doubt that.
Okay, well, let's jump on into the comments here. And last week I asked Carol, the cat cake girl, how the heck did you get your name? And she says, I call myself Carol Cake the Cat Girl because it's my name. I decorate cakes for a living, and I have a pet cat, and I wear a tinfoil hat and have been accused of being a conspiracy theorist. She says, I enjoy the mix of the jibber jabber and the conspiracies and fat shaming. Says, if it were the same old thing, people would get bored. Well, it's definitely not the same old thing. I mean, they might still be getting bored, but anyway, yeah, thanks, Carol, for that. Just kind of wondering how you got that name there.
Do you actually know, do you know who Rock On? We were giving Rock On so much hell.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
About the caps. And he wrote me a big long letter and told me he's a maintenance guy in a trailer park. So they made up a nickname for him. His new nickname's Trailer Park Chuck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had Wheelchair Chuck, but he's kind of disappeared.
Trailer Park Chuck. Yeah, he's actually kind of funny. He had
that's
a guy
better than Rock On.
Yeah, that's who that is. Yeah, Trailer Park Chuck. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna call him.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, he sent me an email there not too long ago, and I get emails from people. Sometimes I have trouble reading them because I don't have time, but especially if they're real long.
Oh, he turned out to be kind of cool, actually.
Oh, he's a nice guy. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He gets a little bowed up in the back there every now and then. I used to know a guy that worked in the trailer park like that, and he took care of everybody's place while they were snowbirds. So while they were back up north, and his wife didn't like him drinking beer, so he would keep beer in all these different trailers in the refrigerator. And these people that were gone, and he would go check on their house and sit there and drink beer and watch TV so his wife wouldn't catch him. He had all of his beer hidden in all those. That's a good gig, working in a trailer park like that. Those guys just ride around in a golf cart as a handyman, and they got a little toolbox, and they go around fixing people's stuff.
Yeah, that's something that alcoholics do. They hide liquor.
Oh yeah, that's.
I've been accused of doing it. I've not only been accused of doing it, I've done it.
Well, I don't see why you have to hide it.
Stash of whiskey somewhere. I think all alcoholics do that. They have a little stash somewhere in case they run out. Because, man, when you're an alcoholic and you run out of booze, whiskey, man, you're calling people. Want to know if they got a bottle of booze you can buy off of them, and I'll go to the liquor store and give you a bottle tomorrow, man. You got an extra bottle around.
Some of these homeless people drink mouthwash if they run out. They can't get it. They'll get some mouthwash and drink that. I guess it's got grain alcohol in it.
They drink Tulane. That's what Ronnie used to say. Those people down there in Shantytown drank Tulane or whatever that shit is.
That must be some cheap stuff. Oh, Shellman Brandon Griff, I'm upset with the whole Arby's thing. Yeah, remember when I told her story?
You're talking about a guy burning up in the truck and it smelled like Arby's.
Yeah, that's a true story. I mean, I'm sorry about that. A lot of people. Yeah, Larry Tate says, thanks for ruining Arby's for me, Griff. And he sent me a picture of some she, and he goes, here, now, that's what you get for ruining my Arby's. Because Arby's, they just came out with that burger that don't look too bad. It's actually a good looking burger. So, but it might be, it might have a little human in it.
I used to like Arby's Jamocha shakes, but I don't know. I quit drinking all that stuff that's
Well, there for a while they
in
had
those
this.
machines like that because they're not really ice cream. I don't know what they make that stuff out
There
of.
for a while they had this deli sandwich. I don't know if they still have the deli sandwich there, but that was pretty good. But yeah,
I
I
think
was
I've
a
had a fish sandwich there a couple of times.
I Yeah, I used to like Arby's until she told me that story. So, sometimes if something gets ruined for you, you got to ruin it for everybody else just to make yourself feel better. So that's why I had to go ahead and tell that story.
Well,
But
I've heard none of these fast food places are no good. They're all owned by the same people. There's 10
yeah,
people that own everything. So
yeah, the Soylent Green
every every
Company.
everything we've ever been told about history in any way, shape, or form is wrong. I mean, you still hear people talking about Columbus discovering America. God, there's stuff that's hidden in America that was here hundreds of years before Christopher Columbus ever thought about it. He did. I don't know what happened, but I guess nobody had been here for a while except for the Indians, and the English come over here and you know
Yeah, they said
claimed
here.
it, and then the French claimed part of Canada, and then well, Spain and claimed part of America, and then didn't they claim Louisiana? Ain't that who owned Louisiana? Spain or something? I don't know.
I
And
mean, I know about the
God, there's
Louisiana
people, all kind
Purchase.
of countries claimed it, and then America. I don't know what happened. It's whatever Rothschilds wrote in the history book is the way they want to portray it, but. Well, there's a lot
Well,
of stuff going on in the Grand Canyon that's real peculiar about Egypt being here and stuff. Really strange
it's
stuff.
almost like somebody's got spending some money putting this propaganda out, this whole conspiracy theory, flat Earth, and in the mud flood, and all the bells were broken because of the what's the name? Is it the Hertz or what is it, Craig? That
Oh, the frequencies, yeah, the
frequencies,
hertz,
yeah.
yeah, those bells had all the different frequencies that were what's it called oh God, I forget the name of
I saw that again last night. They had a whole bunch of broken bells and a picture of all these broken bells, and they said that they broke all the bells because it was too soothing for the people to hear, and they wanted
yeah, they
they
broke
wanted
them all,
everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the
So
pipe organs hit all those yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. Rothschild changed the music from 432, which is a really soothing sound, to 440, which is it doesn't really meet the frequencies of your body this well. I don't know, man. I got brain damage. I can't figure all this stuff out. There's so many conspiracies coming about all the food. God, they're trying to poison everybody, and
yeah,
everybody's full of parasites, and the doctors are hiding it, and the doctors, all they know how to do is prescribe medicine, and the school. I mean, it's just all the crazy stuff that we're being fed. You see stuff about the flat Earth that makes a lot of sense, and then you see stuff that's psychics say that's supposed to happen that involve a spherical around Earth. So.
well, you don't have to believe any of it, you
But
know.
all I know is you're not allowed to go past the 60th parallel. What's down there that we're not allowed to see? That's what I want to know. I mean, what's down there? Well, you're not allowed to go past there. You just are
Well, you
not
might have
allowed to
to
do it.
you might have
You
to
can't
book a
do it.
flight and go out there and see for
You can't
yourself.
book a flight. You can't. There's nobody that'll fly down there. You're not allowed to do it. They'll turn you around. I don't know how many countries down there. They say, I don't know. It's crazy. all this. There's so many different stories. It's crazy, but we'll never know because the powers to be. It's a no-fly zone. And from what I understand, they say they fly over the North Pole all the time, but you're not allowed to fly directly over the North Pole. That's a no-fly zone. You can fly, over that area, but you can't fly directly over the North Pole for some reason.
Did you see that thing about the SR-71, how it flies so fast that there's no way they could keep up with the contour of the Earth?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, it would just keep going. Yeah,
Okay.
and then they got the rocket. They got those rockets that just go straight up, and they hit that firmament. When they hit that firmament, it looks like they're hitting a water barrier.
But you'd think they would give up. I mean, why they keep trying to do it? That's expensive.
Well, they say the government sent missiles up there trying to bust through it. They sent
But why would you want to do that? It might be something up there and you break it and it's going to kill everybody.
Well, I don't know. What if it's all water beyond that?
Yeah. Well, you could go around messing around with that, man.
I don't know. I ain't now, I got brain damage. I can't figure all this out, man. It's when they send people to Harvard. God, I barely made it out of high school.
I was reading a thing on the comments last podcast, and it was talking about the guy said when he's behind somebody at McDonald's and he sees a big fat arm hanging out the window, he gives up and gives up his place in line, and goes and just forgets about it because he knows he's going to be waiting too long behind him. Kimmy goes, I was drinking my dew and I almost choked on the fat arm at the Arby's comment. It wasn't at Arby's. Kimmy thinks it was at Arby's. She's got the fat arm at McDonald's mixed up with the Arby's. That's okay. That's all right, Kimmy. That's all right. Roger Johnson says, awesome drone work. Great footage. Wish I could have gone. Yeah, that was fun. That flying that drone, and old Smick. He did a good job flying that drone.
That's Six Gun's other guitar player, Schmick.
Smick. Gentry.
Yeah.
Nick Gentry.
Yeah.
I was looking at some video of him playing Freebird. He does Freebird to me just closer than you can get. I mean, he does a great Alan Collins Freebird. He really does.
Them guys got Zach and Schmick got some talented guys. And that little Savannah, man, I'm going to tell you what, she's going to turn out to be something else, boy.
Yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to go see Six Gun, I'm telling you, you will not be, they do not disappoint. And one of my most memorable things I enjoyed the most was being over at their house in their little practice room and sitting there, and it was like my own personal concert, listening to them go through all the songs. And if you close your eyes, it sounds just like Skynyrd. It's amazing. It really is. They're very, very good players.
It tickles me, that thing that we do, that Tarzan lick at the beginning there. That tickles me.
Yeah, that's Zach.
Zach doing Tarzan. He does it just like I told him to.
Yeah, you told him how to do it. Yeah, that's how Alan did it, huh?
Because people want to draw that one middle part out, but Alan didn't draw that out. It's just.
That'll wake you up, man. If you're you hear that, you're gonna be like, damn.
He did it good. Yeah, he did it.
He
time
did
to put a little tremolo at the end.
Well, Zach's a perfectionist. He's a damn perfectionist. His daddy is too. That's for sure. Oh, okay.
They're not getting us for the wake and bake pipe. They've been letting us go through. I don't know what they were hitting us for, but we've been monetized here the last couple times. So it's not the pipe. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I say when you see commercials, that means we're getting monetized. User says, Griff, that was some very good guitar playing during the drone footage. Well, I didn't play the guitar at the drone footage at the end. That was something I got off of a royalty-free stock site because so they wouldn't take our dramatization, monetization away. But that's me just playing that little bit at the beginning of the podcast, the intro, because I should have gone in there and got that royalty free for that too. I didn't think about it, but I just left it. But yeah, that was some royalty free music, so you can go on there and you don't have to pay for it, and they won't AI won't catch it. So yeah, that was a little a little loop of acoustic music. I just kept looping it. Let me see. Interesting story on Craig's encounter with the Henry Paul band. I went and listened to that, Craig. That was pretty good. You could hear when you started squealing, and then you hit second gear, and you could hear it again. And that was pretty cool.
I was
Turn it up.
If you can
Henry
imagine
Paul.
the first time you ever smoked freebase and then doing that, it wasn't easy.
You can hear it pretty clear.
It wasn't easy.
You chirped it good.
Yeah, I had to hit it right by. I only had one chance to do it, and I was like I said, I was high, man, and I had to hit it. I didn't give the car long enough to. They didn't give me a lot of room between the microphones, so I had to.
What did he have in there? A
early.
slapstick or something? What did he have in there? What kind of shifter?
It was a 4-speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 4-speed.
It marked out pretty good.
Shifter. Yeah, I had to hit it. I had to hit it early. I was, just barely chirped him. Alan didn't like it. He was pissed off. He jumped in it after I did it. Started it off sideways and did a big burnout and stuff. But
so,
we were afraid the cops were on the way. It was on the dang street, city street, right in front of the Criterion Studio.
When you got there, were they like?
They had a Lamborghini out there. I think
so.
They
planned the whole thing. They planned the whole thing then to have.
Yeah, they were out there trying to do a burnout with a Lamborghini, and it was like, and we pulled up with that hot rod, and they went, "Yeah, that's the sound we need," and it had those pipes, the pipes came out the side of the car. So when I when I went by that the microphone, the exhaust pipes were were right into the microphone there. Yeah, pipes come.
That's pretty cool. How you got that recorded. It's something that
that was one of those things that I'll never forget. That was
Alan in the car with you, or you by yourself?
No, he wasn't with me.
So you had to chirp it right by the microphone when you went by.
Yeah, and like I said before, it was a small block Chevy with solid lifts, and it had no blow shield. And if I'd have missed second gear, man, that thing would over and blow my legs off.
I thought about putting the clip of it up on the podcast, but the AI they'll catch it and then it'll take our monetization. So I quit.
I don't think they would catch the car part. I don't know.
Well, it goes right into the music.
Yeah, it goes right in that. Yeah, they're pretty slick. They'd catch it.
Yeah, they'll catch it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, man.
But it's the song's called "Turn It Up." You can find it on YouTube. Just do a search.
I found it real easy. Henry Paul Band, Turn It Up.
Turn It Up.
Right at the beginning.
It starts out right at the front. Rum, 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 yeah, that's how it starts out.
I forget who asked that question, but that was a good question.
Yeah. I'm glad people know that. I like the notoriety for doing that. Yeah, I drove a car on a soundtrack. It's not something everybody does. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool to have on your resume.
Well, you are recorded.
I've never put it on my resume, but it's good to have as a backup.
You should have screamed something out of the window at the same time while you did it. Okay. Sweet User says Graham Parsons was a great pioneer in the world of country music. Love his song Wild Horses as recorded by the Stones. I thought the Stones wrote Wild Horses.
I thought they did too. I don't know.
As a matter of fact, they told me when I was at Muscle Shoals that Keith Richards wrote it in the shit house at Muscle Shoals Studio. But I have heard the Graham Parsons version, and it's good. And there's a lot of people asking me about the On the Road with Griff Martin and Graham Parsons, because he was born where I live here in Winter Haven, and his house that he grew up in is here, and so I'll start working on that and see if I can't get a little thing together on Graham Parsons, because he was a great musician. Let me see. Kimmy, she says, Craig, I bet you would have fell in love with a fat woman if she rescued you from those woods when you crashed.
What woods?
When you crashed in the plane.
Oh. I was unconscious. I don't know what happened.
You wouldn't have cared if a fat girl drug you out of that plane.
No.
Yeah, you probably would have. If she said, "Hey, I'll rescue you, but you're going to have to take me out on a date," you'd have gone out with her.
I don't mind if fat people help you. A fat woman helps me out or something. As long as I ain't seen with her, it's fine.
It's kind of like,
as long as somebody sees me with her, I'm all right with it.
Is that kind of like a guy riding a moped?
Yeah, it's like riding a moped. They're fun as long as nobody sees you.
Somebody asked, where did the band find Joe Barnes and Kevin Elson?
Kevin Elson was a friend of Jeff Carlisi's, as far as I've picked up on this situation, and Kevin played in bands with he played in a band, I think his name was Sweet Rooster, and there was I think Billy and Jeff Carlisi and then well, I don't guess Billy played in band. I don't know that Jeff Carlisi and maybe like Randall and maybe Don Barnes or some of them 38 people had maybe I don't know. They had a band called Sweet Rooster or something like that. Kevin and some of them guys, and Kevin was just in the music scene, and then he was interested in doing sound, and he just knew the guys, I guess.
And when I interviewed Joe Barnes at Whitey's, which if you go to the podcast that we did where we were doing the Gary Rossington Celebration of Life and check out that interview, it might even be on the Griff Martin files. And he tells a story how he got hooked up with Skynyrd. Basically, they were out playing somewhere, and Joe Barnes helped him out with I think making up some chords or something, and and Ronnie asked him, "Hey, if you wouldn't mind coming and helping us some more, we could dig that." And so he started.
Well, yeah, it was right at the time when they needed a real roadie to go on tour with them with the Who, because they had Dean, and like I said before, Dean was around and helped, but he wasn't really a real roadie, and Billy kind of helped with Kevin, and Billy were like the roadies, and then they found out Billy could play piano, and then Dean was, you see the early pictures of the band, Dean was always up on stage, with them, and then they had to pick up Joe Barnes because Joe was, could make chords and do electrical stuff and actually work on guitars and, set up drums and all that stuff. And it was just Joe Barnes and Kevin Elson that did the Who tour, and Joe and Kevin, kind of helped set up the stuff, and then Joe, during the show, Joe ran the stage, took care of all the stuff on stage, and Kevin went out and mixed the sound, and then Kevin would run up and help Joe, put get stuff in the truck and move to the next show. So
that's why Ed King said, Craig, man, we need some extra help. So you ever think about coming and being a roadie?
Yeah, that was right at the time when it was obvious they needed some extra help, and
you probably had some.
Well, I was when I went to those shows with them, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I could get, I had enough common sense to see if they were moving stuff around, I could help them move stuff,
Plus, it
if they're
didn't
moving
hurt.
that stuff, I'll help you, So, I in Cleveland and stuff, I helped them carry guitars and put them in the cars and everything. I mean, I helped them out. And then when Ed come to my house, he goes, I said, hey, man, you think you'd ever like a job? And I said, doing what? So, but yeah, when that woman from Florida called me, Peggy Spradling was her name, called me and so asked me to meet her in Atlanta, so I did, and when I left, I like I said before, I actually packed a suitcase and planned on going. When I left here, I told my parents, I goes, hey, I'm going to work for this rock band. I mean, when I left, I told them I was.
And just think, Craig,
I had no idea that I would be. But when I left, I said that's what I'm going to do.
If it weren't for the fact that you had some weed, it probably never would have happened.
No, no. That's how it was started.
It was because the police were looking for you, and you had some weed.
Well, the police were looking for the place where I lived with Art Reedy and Glenn Kirkland, who my friend Glenn Kirkland, he just passed away here a couple weeks ago. He went in and had an operation and never woke up. So yeah, that was one of my. I was actually his house. Him and Judy were married, and they lived there, and Art lived there, and him and Cindy, and then Crazy George and me, and oh God, Glenn Kirkland, and all kind of people were kind of there. It was kind of called the Crazy House, and that's where I kind of was hanging around when I was told, I shouldn't go down there because it was being watched. So that's when I was getting out of town. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, there was a place here called the Draft House, and a lot of the bands that would come up to the Draft House would end up out at the Crazy House out where it was out in a place called Rhodes Holla, and it was actually known to be haunted out there. I think that house was haunted. I mean, we'd sit out there and we'd be really high, and we'd hear ghosts coming walking up the steps, and the door would open, and didn't freak us out, man. We just go, hey, man, what's going on? But they never said anything, but you could feel they were there. But yeah, that's the Rhodes Holla. It's known for being haunted. Yeah, the whole area down there. But I'd walk up to the house and I could hear people inside the house talking, and I'd go in the house and there's nobody home.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was weird. We used to play Ouija board in there and all kind of stuff. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, we'd have. Oh, it was crazy. Yeah, it was a crazy house, man. We do.
Your buddy,
play on the Ouija board.
Your buddy, Trailer Park Chuck. Now, I'd asked you this question before, if you'd ever noticed this, and he says, "Have you ever noticed during the Old Gray Whistle test, Alan is playing his guitar and he hits Ronnie in the hat with his guitar. Kind of hits him pretty hard, And remember I asked you that and you said, no, I never really noticed that.
I've never.
Yeah, Ronnie doesn't care. He doesn't do anything about it. I mean, maybe later he said, hey man, watch it with a guitar, but You were there at the old gray whistle test, weren't you,
Yeah,
Craig?
yeah, I was there.
You remember anything about it?
I was still pretty green at that time, you
Did
know.
you get you one of those buttons that Ronnie was wearing? You know, that button he had on with a guy kicking his leg up in the air? You know, that was that emblem for the old gray whistle test, was a guy kicking his
Hmm.
leg up in the air. Ronnie had that
God, if
button
I
on.
did, I don't remember. No, if I did, I don't
I
remember.
wonder when they quit doing that old gray whistle test, because there was a lot of bands went there.
God, I don't know. Jiminy Christmas, that was 1974. God, that was
Yeah,
50
that was.
years ago.
But it was great. They had it mixed really good. It sounded great. You know, they had great
Yeah.
acoustics in there.
Yeah,
Every-
I remember, I kind of remember the thing, but it was, that was like my first experience with doing TV and, so I was pretty flabbergasted.
Well, that button that
You
Ronnie
know.
was wearing, somebody's got that thing somewhere. That's a collector's item, almost like that tackle box that we can't find.
I'm gonna have to dig around and find that stuff here pretty quick. I'll be finding it, I hope.
See, somebody asked me they like my hat right here, and they go, "Hey, is there any way you can get any more of those hats?" Well, Craig gave me this hat right here, and when I was at his house, and he
Yeah,
signed the inside of it.
I got a few of those hats laying around.
Yeah, okay, we'll contact Craig
I'll have
at,
to. I
at
think
the.
they're with the tackle box.
Oh God, yeah. Good luck with that. I think the user or the
Yeah, they're with
person's
the tackle box.
their
I'll
their
dig
name
those
is
out though.
Fine here. Fine the Sun. Uh,
Yeah, those are cool hats.
yeah, I guess you can't get them anywhere, huh?
No,
Yeah, I
no.
was lucky. I
I
got
was
me.
I was good friends with the t-shirt people, and I bought sleeves of those things.
So you're about out of them, huh?
Yeah, I bought sleeves of those things, and
I just ordered a bunch of the Skynyrd shirts, those Skynyrd band shirts. I'll let you guys know when they come in. I'll wear one of them, and so you can see it if anybody wants one of those. People been bugging me to death about getting those shirts, and finally I went down there and ordered them. So they're on their way. Steve Jones says Champagne Jam by Atlanta Rhythm Section. Artie played drums and Leslie sang backup. Almost positive. Does that sound right to
it's,
you, Craig? I never heard
it's
that.
possible. I never heard Artemis playing drums for uh, Atlanta Rhythm Section though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
That's the first I'd ever heard
never
of
knew
that.
that because back then I was Artemis's drum roadie. Up until I was Artemis's drum roadie up until uh, I started doing guitars, and that was 70. I didn't start doing guitars till 76.
All I got to do is
I was
email.
Artemis's drum roadie for.
I'll email Leslie and
Yeah.
ask her that, and then I'll ask her that other question about the jacket. See what she says. Sometimes when I email or text her like that, she'll call me, and it's fun to talk to her. Autumn Honecker says, "I know that Dean and Judy were very close. Question: did Ronnie and Dean have a close relationship too?"
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they
Yeah.
did. Yeah, they sure did. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Dean and Ronnie actually roomed together sometimes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Ronnie would just, Ronnie. Dean was like Ronnie's
Like
butler or
his,
something.
yeah, his little butler. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
his little
imagine.
butler. Yeah, Dean is just his personal gopher. Just. So Ronnie wouldn't have to leave his room. Dean would just, go there and whatever Ronnie needed, he would just go there and, so Ronnie wouldn't have to go out in the hallway and be pestered or
I
nothing.
remember one time Gene and I went into the Dollar General, and I forget what we were getting. Maybe we were getting a Coke or something, and then and I got my wallet out, and Gene goes, "Put your damn wallet away. Your money ain't no good." And he goes, "That's what Ronnie used to tell you. Ronnie wouldn't let you buy anything. He'd
Yeah.
push you out of the way and go, 'Put your money away. Your money ain't no good.'" He said that's what Ronnie was hitting. Ronnie wouldn't let you buy nothing. You remember that, Craig? Like if you
Yeah,
went
yeah,
somewhere,
yeah, yeah.
Ronnie had to buy it, huh?
Well, when yeah, he was pretty generous. When we would go places, he would always take care of the boat fees and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what Gene said. He said, "Man, your money ain't no good." Backcountry Hunter, that burger place that you are thinking of in California, Craig, is called In and Out Burger.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Is
In and
that the
Out
name of it?
Burger. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those
See,
are actually pretty good, I guess. I don't
see if Craig can't remember, then somebody will remember for him.
know.
Sour User made a comment, and I'm not going to read it because she hates Mr. T. And Sour User, you said you were going to unsubscribe, so go ahead and unsubscribe. I'm not going to read your comments anymore. You're too mean. And then Brian Gibbons, I saw he posted something on Facebook needing some prayers. I hope he's doing okay. So I guess Brian's going through something. So you guys,
Oh, I
know,
didn't know that. I hadn't
yeah,
talked to him here lately.
yeah, I know. So,
He said from last I talked to him, he was doing good. He had his neck worked on, and
yeah, I don't know, man. I hope he's okay. So, send out some,
wow,
yeah,
yeah.
send out some prayers for Brian Gibbons, and we'll have to check on him, see how he's doing. See, Ronnie Parker Griff, what happened with the Todd Howarth interview? Ronnie, I am going to start checking on that. You know, usually when I call somebody and I'm talking to them about coming on the podcast, and if I have like a little inkling that they're not real interested in it, I'll give them a little time, and then I'll call them back and see, how interested they really were. And TP set me up with him, but I'm gonna give him a call. I've got his phone number, and I'm gonna because he was going through something. He was sick at the time, and then he had something he was doing, so I was giving him plenty of time to take care of that. And it's probably about time that I get with him. So yeah, thanks for reminding me about that there, Ronnie. I'll give him a call. Angela
Oh, TP.
Leonard.
Yeah, since we're on the subject of TP, TP is the one that her friend, the concert guy. Oh, I don't have that card right here. Yeah, she sends me that. She's the one that sends me this coffee here too. I appreciate it. There,
Is that a ceramic? Is it ceramic? It is, right?
I believe it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Apparently she's got this Mustang, and nice Mustang, but apparently it's been giving her all kind of
Yeah, I saw that.
crap,
Yeah.
and she's been
Arguing with the dealership or something, the
yeah, the
mechanic.
computer's all messed up and stuff, and I guess her mother's got this Torino. Did you see that needs an engine in it?
I didn't see that one. No.
Yeah, man, she's put it up there that her mother's selling this Grand Torino for like 8 grand or something. And it needs a, I guess it's not running, but yeah, if that thing wasn't so far away, I'd be on that.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice. I've been looking for an older car. I've never owned a Ford. I'd probably put a Chevy engine in. Those Grand Trinos are really cool. That's a good price for that thing. It's red. That's a nice one.
I knew a guy, he had an SL Mercedes, and somehow he got a 350 and put it in that thing, and he used to drive it around, and I was like, I was like, what? I was like, what do you got in here? I said, it don't sound like a Mercedes. He said, it's a 350.
When I had my Mercedes, I was having problems with the drivetrain and stuff, and that's why I sold it. It just got too ridiculous to keep the thing running. It's just
Was it a diesel?
And I do what?
Was it a gasoline?
Yeah,
Mercedes?
it was a 6-cylinder gas, but yeah, it was just ridiculous. The air conditioning setup and just the whole
Yeah,
the engine, and it's just it's a Mercedes, So I thought about putting a small block Chevy in it, but I just finally got rid of it. I didn't have time to deal with it. I wish I would have now.
Angela Leonard says Graham Parsons died in a room number 8 at Joshua Tree, and it's haunted from hell. People actually have talked to him. Yeah, I remember my buddy Jay telling me about how somebody took his body from the morgue or something and they tried to burn it out in the desert and they couldn't burn it all the way. Yeah, there's a whole thing about that. I'm gonna have to do a little documentary on Grand Parsons, and that guy was crazy, man. He died really young, but had a great band. Tina Oresco, nice nice ending to the podcast. It did bring a few tears. Thanks to you and Craig for the podcast. Yeah, the that little thing at the end there with the drone, and I put up the pictures of the band, and then the fly over the monument, and you could see everybody walking around. You could see Craig and me, and Zach and Chad and Gene and everybody. There's a lot of people there. That was awesome. I'm glad we and that was Jeff who bought that. That was Jeff who bought that drone, and that thing came in handy. I think Chad's got it now. I think he broke it, didn't he?
I don't know. I know Chad had it. I don't know if he broke it or not. No.
But anyway, that's the end of the comments and questions. Craig, you got anything else you want to talk about, or?
Oh God, I had something that I was gonna say, but I forgot.
Yeah. Well, you got
So,
it. You got
what?
till Monday to think about it.
We've been on here for about an hour and a half.
Yeah, so it's time.
It's been
This time I didn't get my coffee yet. I need to go get my coffee.
This has been like a chewy Tootsie Roll.
I know what you were going to talk about. You were going to talk about putting butter in your coffee.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about that too. Yeah, I watched something where they were saying that putting butter in your coffee it had some kind of a reaction that made, I don't know. It was just supposed to be good for you. I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to do, but then somebody told me that was what Charlie on 2.5 Men. That was what the maid did. She made Charlie's special coffee and she put butter in it. And I've actually been doing it. I'll have to try to find what especially it's supposed to do for you, but it's supposed to be good for you. If anybody wants to do some research and see what butter in your coffee is supposed to do for you, but God, there's all kind of stuff that's coming out about all the natural remedies for things. That's kind of crazy. All the information that's coming out in every which way you can think. There's stuff coming out about the way stuff's been fabricated and told to us, and somebody's trying to smarten us up. I don't know. I think it's working on some of us.
Yeah, well, who was that? Gary Busey, and he's kind of weird now, old Gary Busey.
Oh yeah, he's
talking about buttered sausage. Yeah, let's talk about buttered sausage.
Cousin Figel sent me a thing of Joe Rogan did a thing with Snoop Dogg, and that podcast was 3 hours and 40 minutes long, man. Crazy, why? It was pretty cool that Snoop Dogg smoked blunts the whole time, and he was. I want to know if Joe Rogan had any white whiskey, white alcohol, and they kept saying they had bourbon, and Snoop Dogg was going, brown don't go good with brown. Brown. Yeah. white and brown is all right, but clear and white is all right, but brown and brown ain't no good or something.
You said you went down to Snoop Dogg's room, and then there was a bunch of
Down
weed
to the
laying.
dressing room. Yeah.
Yeah.
After they left, I was up on stage and somebody come up and said, "Man, I was just down in Snoop Dogg's room, and that whole table's down there just covered in pot." And man, I just ran downstairs and ran in the dressing room and just got a piece of paper and scooped it all up and was folded up.
You were wanting to see how good it was, weren't you?
Folded up and stuck it in my pocket just as the dressing room girl came in to clean up the dressing room. I was going.
That might have had one of. Craig. That might have had one of Snoop Dogg's coils out of his hair in it. You might have smoked some of Snoop Dogg.
It was okay. It wasn't the best I ever smoked, but it was. He kept calling it fire. He's got a new played his new song. It's called Fire, Smoking Fire. I only smoke fire. That's what it's called. I only smoke fire.
I think he's a bit of a liberal, though. I'm pretty sure. I think he's pretty much a liberal.
Oh, is he?
But I think so. I'll have to check that Joe Rogan out, though. I haven't seen that yet.
He's got some crazy stuff out there. I see all kind of stuff he was supposed to do with Musk. I don't believe he did some of that stuff with Musk.
No, that's AI.
Pretty far out there. I think AI did a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it has to be.
And there's all kind of man. There's one guy that does a podcast, and I turn him on and watch him. He's just some guy from Nashville, I think, and he gets on there and sings and plays music from other bands and gets on there and sings and dances and stuff. And I just laugh at him.
Oh,
and I guess he's kind of supposed to be. And I saw him he's acting like he's a big bad motorcycle guy, and he's in this Harley dealership sitting there. I like my bars up this high, and all this stuff. And I just laugh at the guy. And today he was on and said he's got like either 50,000 subscribers or 150,000 subscribers. There's actually people that and all the guy does is talk about I don't know.
There's a lot of
laugh.
There's a lot of people on YouTube. They got a niche, man. They do some crazy.
Well, it seems stuff. Like all they do is talk about their personal life, and that's kind of like what what we've been doing here. Just we don't talk a lot about my tinfoil hat wearing escapades that's been going on.
Yeah, a little Skynyrd, a little conspiracy, a little fat shaming.
Yeah. And where the hell is Craig Reed's head at today? Boy, that guy is he's been smoking some good weed. But yeah, that fact is true. Yeah, I've been smoking some good weed. Yeah, try to smoke that. I mean, like smoke Snoop Dogg. I only smoke fire. I only be smoking fire.
Well, I know from being at your house, you've got like about 3 or 4 different weeds because you get kind of. Like when you smoke,
I do.
You got to switch to a different weed because you quit getting high. You have to switch to a different weed.
Yeah. I got 2 different kinds. Got 2 different kinds yesterday. I had a good kind before that, and a couple good times before. Yeah, I got a few different.
And I'll never get that time Craig was at my house, and my buddy Jay had to give me this rope. It's a like a gummy, but it was really strong. And you're only supposed to break a piece off of it. And I went back and got some of it. I was waiting for when I retired. And the day I retired, I was going to eat a piece of it. And I took it out and I showed Craig because I didn't know too much about it. And I said, "Hey, Craig, look at this right here." And I had it in my hand. I go, "That's a rope." And then Craig grabs it out of my hand and sticks it in his mouth and eats it. And I was like, Cheech and Chong, I was like, wow, man, that's the biggest piece of rope I ever seen anybody eat. And I said, you're going to get stoned on that. And he goes, oh, I'll be all right. And it never bothered you.
No.
But then you had those triple X skull and crossbone gummies that you had, and you were taking those. And
I was already eating those.
God almighty, I took a corner
Those
off of that
edibles
one.
don't do much for me. I don't know.
Oh man, that one that you gave me, I took a corner off of. I thought I was going to die. It's crawling around on the floor. It's just laying
I went
there
somewhere
going,
the other
breathe.
day, and the guy had some, and he had a big jar of them, and I goes, "What's the dosage on it?" He goes, "Oh, I break them in half." So I ate one, and then I ate another one, and he broke out the jar and said, "Just help yourself." So I ended up eating 5 of them.
Did you ever even get a buzz?
No, I didn't even get a buzz, man.
But you got a buzz on that cookie cake that you had.
Oh
on your
yeah,
birthday.
well that was Keith. God, yeah, I did on that.
Yeah, they had to take you away in a Bama land.
I ate a
on that
bunch
one.
of that. I ate a bunch of that though.
Yeah.
I OD'd on that, but well, I overdid it, not OD'd, because you can't OD on it. You can just get to the point where your legs don't work, and that's what I did.
Well, they told me that you were laying there and your eyes were open and they weren't blinking and you weren't moving. You weren't talking. You were just staring at the ceiling.
I was in another dimension, man.
I think so. Yeah.
I changed dimensions.
I still have the recording of that on my phone when you called me from the hospital. I'm going to see if I can't pull that up. Maybe I'll put that on the podcast here. That'd be funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
all right, Greg, let's wrap it up, man. It's time to go.
Yeah, this has been a Saturday morning wake and bake. This is our first one. Yeah, it's first one. It's first Saturday morning wake and bake we've ever did on the Stoned Roadie Show. And I've been your host, Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stoned Roadie. And this has been my co-host, the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. And happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep token until then. See you later, alligator. At a wild crocodile. Oh yeah, and Sammy says you need to shorten that stem. He said the stem part's too long.
That's for cooling purposes.
Oh, he said the stem part's too long. That's what he said.
Tough shit.
So that's a wrap. Cut.
See you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. See you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. Greg and Griff will see you next time.